Hi guys, welcome back to History with you. So I know I haven't posted a video in a very long time, and that's just because I've been a bit ill. I've had many things going on, and I know it's only been a week, but still, I post literally every day. So yeah, it has been a long time, or at least in the terminology of this channel. Anyway, my topic today, I was originally going to do a video on a 5-part series on history of Tibet, but instead, I think we should do the life of Guru Rinpoche, also known as Padmasabhava. So, Guru Rinpoche was born in a place called Ordinyana, and Ordinyana is thought to be located in the Swat Valley. And if you don't really know, Guru Rinpoche is regarded by many as either the reincarnation of Shakyamuni Buddha or a Nirmakaya of Avalokiteshvara. I think it's probably the first one. I think it just makes more sense. So you see here that in this main life he taught Buddhism, second life he taught Tantra, and the third life he taught Chod. Because yes, Dampa Sangha is the reincarnation of Guru Rinpoche. He predicted it himself. So this is the 3 incarnations. So yeah, I think Guru Rinpoche is Shakyamuni reincarnated. So Guru Rinpoche, proper name Padmasabhava, which means the lotus one, was born in Ordinaya, which is often placed in the Swat Valley in Pakistan, and was born at the, well, of course I believe this as a Buddhist, but in all the hierogaphies he was born in a lotus in the heart of Lake Dhanakosha, where in a lotus that blossomed with him seated upon it holding a vajra. Of course he was birthed spontaneously, not by a womb, and when he was born the gods proclaimed that this is Padmasambhava, the lotus-born one. The king of Odinyana, Indrabhuti, adopted him and named him Padmakara, which means the lotus one. He would only be called the lotus-born one when he exhibited his great spiritual powers. Even as a child he displayed the mastery, meditation, spontaneous wisdom, clairvoyance and compassion. But he also had his fierce, wrathful side, which we'll talk about later with the manifestations, and he had the power to subdue harmful forces. As Guru Rinpoche, or at the time Padmakara, realized that palace life could not contain his mission to spread Dharma, and he found that as a king, just like in his previous life as Shakyamuni, he found out that ruling as a king would not do benefit to sentient beings, so he decided to leave the palace. He performed a tantric dance on top of the palace roof, and he let his trident fall off the roof and killed the son of a minister. And although this seemed as blatant murder, it was not actually a murder, as the child was destined for a low rebirth, but being killed by Guru Rinpoche let him be reborn in a pure land. Even his father Indrabhuti loved him. He was still exiled, and he left the end of Odinyana and travelled to the cool Charnel grounds, which was, of course, Charnel grounds like a graveyard, kind of. He did not see this as punishment, but as destiny, and he became a wandering yogi and practiced in the Charnel grounds and meditated among many evil spirits, and these are the first spirits that he subdued, and he mastered the tantric arts. After that, he travelled to Nalanda and trained under many great masters like Prabhasasati, Shantigarbha, Sri Simha, and Manjushmurti, and received the Tsokan teachings and the highest answers. He mastered the Mantra Mudra Mandala subtle body practices and wrathful deity yoga, and he became known as Dorhe Darkwasal, the Vajra wrathful power. And this is not one of his manifestations, by the way, it's just another name. After completing his full Buddhist studies at Nalanda, he travelled across India and Nepal and Sikkim, and he subdued demons, spirits, elemental forces, and other local deities and bound them to Dharma and to protect them. And many Dharma protectors in Tibetan Buddhism today, like many Gyalpa spirits, were subdued by Guru Rinpoche. Later on in his life, King Tritsong Detsen of Tibet sought to build Samye Monastery and bring Buddhism to Tibet, because although Tritsong Detsen wasn't the first Buddhist king, he wanted to make the Tibetan people Buddhist. At this time, they were mainly Bonpo. The king invited both Padmasabhava and Shankarakitsa, who said that they knew that they would teach Dharma in Tibet. When Guru Rinpoche arrived in Tibet, the spirits trembled, and he subdued them with his great teachings and cities. When all the spirits in Tibet were pacified, he and Shankantista founded Samye, the first Tibetan monastery, where the famous Look Like Me statue that was blessed by him personally. Padmasabhava initiated the first monks, translated tantric texts, taught Dzogchen, and established Vajrayana in Tibet. And this is the time he became known as his name that we most know, Guru Rinpoche, the precious master or the precious teacher. Guru Rinpoche travelled through Tibet, especially Yanglesho, Dimple Padotaksang, which is a tiger's nest, which is known for Guru Dohajoro, Lodrang Zangopali in the visionary form though, and he taught Dzogchen Mahayoga, and Yoga, Ati Yoga, Vajrakyala, Tara practices, and Guru Yoga, and he was the one who hid Tama, many Tama, to be discovered by the Titans in future years. After completing his long mission of spreading the Dharma in Tibet and all the other regions like India, Nepal and Bhutan, he did not die. Instead, he departed Tibet on the back of his consort Yeshe Tsogkwa and flied in the sky towards a copper-coloured mountain, which is Zangdokpali, where he still teaches beings today. Now we're going to talk about the different manifestations of Guru Rinpoche, the list, and the thing I just want to outline is that these manifestations, these are not emanation, these are not different lives that you'll manifest after, this is different. These are instead the different stages of his life, just like how you're different from when you're a child to an adult. It's just different stages, but of course he did look different and his bodily form did change. Yes, he did look wrathful in some of these emanations. Okay, that's stupid, I said emanations, manifestations. So, his first manifestation was Guru Tsokso daughter, which is, Padmakara, which is the lotus born. Of course, that's his birth form. He is peaceful, youthful, radiant, and this is just his purity and miraculous appearance. Then the second one is Guru Shakya Senge, which is the line of the Shakyas, which is his monastic form. And this represents his discipline, scholarship, and renunciation, and his master of the Suchalam Vinaya. Then there is Guru Loden Chokse, which is the seeker of supreme knowledge, which is the scholar yogi who travels across India seeking teachings and symbolizes vast learning and curiosity. Then there is Guru Padmagyalpa, the Lotus King, that's his princely form, which he is charismatic, powerful, royal, and this symbolizes his mastery of worldly and spiritual power, the great king. And there's Guru Nima Oza, which I think is my favourite, which is the sunbeam, which is his radiant, luminous form, which reveals hidden teachings, and this symbolizes wisdom that dispels darkness, and he's depicted as a crazy yogi in this phase. And there's Guru Sendige Dradok, which is the lion's roar, which is his wrathful form. He subdues harmful forces and symbolizes fearless compassion. And then we have Guru Dohedrolo, which is the Vajra wild wrathful one, which is his most wrathful manifestation, the one that you can see right now, this very red one, who's surrounded by, of course, his main form, Amitabha, and many others. He rides a pregnant tigress, and that so happens to actually be Yeshi Sogul, who he transformed into that, and he tames them as stubborn spirits, and this is and he became Gure Dohajole when he travelled to the tiger's nest. And this symbolizes his transformation of chaos into pure wisdom. Last but not least, there is Guru Pema Jungge, the lotus-born teacher of Tibet. This form is which he taught in Tibet. This is peaceful, compassionate, approachable, and this symbolizes his role as the teacher and bringer of Dharma to Tibet. So, just as a short summary, this is the list: Guru Dzogchen Dorje, birth; Guru Shakya Sengi, monk; Guru Loren Chokse, scholar; Guru Padma Gyalpo, prince; Guru Nima Oza, luminous; Guru Sengi Daraduk, wrathful; Guru Dorje Dolo, fierce subjugator; Guru Pema Jungge, teacher in Tibet. Anyway, so my next video I'm going to make is going to be about his life after that as Dampya Sangye, and I'll also be focusing on, in the first part of the video, I'll actually be looking at Yeshe Stokal as well, and how she also re-emanated as Mashig Labdon, who founded Chod practice. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. This is of course a 10-minute video, and I'll catch you on the next one. This is History with Heath signing out.